In my opinion, the chief reason preferring the Suda court is this, that it is the court which we have provided to administer justice, in the last resort, to the great body of the people. If it is not fit for that purpose, it ought to be made so. If it is fit to administer justice to the great body of the people, why should we exempt a mere handful of settlers from its jurisdiction? There certainly is, I will not say the reality, but the semblance of partiality and tyranny in the distinction made by the Charter Act of 1813. That distinction seems to indicate a notion that the natives of India may well put up with something less than justice, or that Englishmen in India have an entitlement to something more than justice. If we give our own countrymen an appeal to the King's courts, in cases which all others are forced to contend with the Company's courts, we do in fact cry down the Company's courts. We proclaim to the Indian people that there are two sorts of justice, a coarse one which we think good enough for them, and another of superior quality which we keep for ourselves. If we take pains to show that we distrust our highest courts, how can we expect that the natives of the country will place confidence in them? The draft of the Act was published, and was, as I fully expected, not unfavourably received by the British in Mufussil. 7 weeks have elapsed since the notification took place. Time has been allowed for petitions from the furthest corners of the territories subject to this presidency, but I have heard of only one attempt in Mufussil to get up a remonstrance, and the Mufussil newspapers which I have seen, though generally disposed to cavil at all the acts of the government, have spoken in favour of this measure. In Calcutta the case has been somewhat different, and this is a remarkable fact. The British inhabitants of Calcutta are the only British-born subjects in Bengal who will not be affected by the proposed Act, and they are the only British subjects in Bengal who have expressed the smallest objection to it. The clamour indeed has proceeded from a very small portion of our society in Calcutta. The objectors have not ventured to call a public meeting, and their memorial has obtained very few signatures, but they have attempted to make up by noise and virulence for what has been wanting in strength. It may at first sight appear to be strange that the law, which is not unwelcome to those who are to live under it, should excite such acrimonious feelings among people who are simply exempted from its operation. But the explanation is simple. Though nobody who resides in Calcutta will be sued in the official courts, many people who reside in Calcutta have, or wish to have, practiced in the Supreme Court. Great exertions have been accordingly made, though with little success, to excite a feeling against this measure among the English inhabitants of Calcutta. The political phraseology of the English in India is the same as the political phraseology of our countrymen at home, but it is never to be forgotten that the same words stand for very different things at London and at Calcutta. We hear much about public opinion, the love of liberty, the influence of the press, but we must remember that public opinion means the opinion of 500 persons who have no interest, feeling or taste in common with the 50 millions among whom they live. And that love of liberty means a strong objection which the 500 feel to every measure which can prevent them from acting as they choose towards the 50 millions, that the press is altogether supported by the 500 and has no motive to plead the cause of the 50 millions. We know that India can't have a free government, but she may have the next best thing, a firm and impartial despotism. The worst state in which she can possibly be replaced is that in which the memorialists will place her. They call on us to recognise them as a privileged order of freemen in the midst of slaves. It was for the purpose of inverting this great evil that Parliament, at the same time as which it suffered Englishmen to settle in India, armed us with those large powers which, in my opinion, we all deserve to possess. If we have not the spirit, use them now.